All right, well, again, welcome to the AARP Grant Competition Info Session. I just want to say a quick thank you already for all the hard work you guys have already put into this effort. I know a lot of work goes into getting this initial support, and we are really thrilled to have you both in this video competition and hopefully to get this started next week. Obviously, I think it's really great to foster a really healthy sense of competition. I want just to remind everyone that obviously we're all going to be a part of the CKP network soon. We're really excited for the outcomes regardless of what they may be. And especially with this current circumstances, which I explained to you guys both over email yesterday, which we'll talk a little bit more about this. But obviously, congrats already for becoming at our future campus kitchens.
Well, thank you.
The purpose of, yeah, absolutely. So the quick purpose of this webinar, a couple purposes of this. One is to make sure that everyone's really clear on how the competition itself will work in terms of the voting. So we're going to go over the logistics and the timeline and just how to vote and everything, just to make sure you're telling all your audiences the right information. And then the other important part of this webinar is we're going to help prepare you guys for getting out the vote and making sure that you're really utilizing all of your outlets to reach your audiences. So for that portion, I'm going to bring in my colleague Tyler to talk about all that, and you'll hear from her in just a little bit. So let's jump ahead here. Yeah, before we get into the meat of this, I just want to also just take a moment to recognize our amazing sponsor of this grant competition, which is obviously the AARP Foundation. Their commitment to ending senior hunger across the country is really inspiring, and they've been an amazing partner, and we're really excited and proud to be able to work with them and provide these grants for you all. So remember that if you receive one of these grants, you'll have to serve some older adult population in some capacity when you start your campus kitchen. So we realize that older adult hunger is not always on the forefront of everyone's minds, but when we talk about hunger, so we're really excited and have been excited for the last few years to be able to help address this increasingly important issue in a lot of our communities. All right, so let's talk a bit about the basics, which some of this you might already know, but we'll just make sure we're all on the same page. As you guys probably know, the competition will begin when we post your videos and turn on the voting capabilities on our website on next Monday, March 7th. Starting at noon Eastern Standard Time. So at that point, you'll be able to start viewing and voting for the videos. And then the competition will run the entire week until Monday, March 14th, where voting will then close at noon Eastern Standard Time. And we will announce the winners that same day, right after we close the voting. Page for voting, where you're going to find all the videos, and the voting capabilities will be at the website you see here. So it's www.campuskitchens.org/AARP-2. So you will also, in addition to that page, which will how that works and what that looks like, you'll also have a direct link that will send anyone directly to your video and a voting button just for your video as well. And so that link you'll see below on the screen right now, which will have your school name, what's in red right there. So you can use either of those links to promote the competition, but just note that the main voting page, the AARP2 page, will be the only one that has the leaderboard with the number of votes thus far. But both pages will have voting capabilities on them. So it's really up to you kind of which one you use, or if you use both of them in your outreach. And again, we'll jump to that in live in just a second to show you that. And we'll send you, obviously, and Tyler will talk about this, we'll send you the link, all the links for your personal videos after this, so you have all that information. So to quickly talk about how to actually vote for your videos, and this is really important when you're talking to your school and your different audiences, so that they do it correctly, so you get all the votes tallied. So the only way to actually vote for a video on the way our system is set up is if the person clicks the gray and orange button that says Vote Now. Which you can see right there on the top right of the screen, that's the view you'll see when it's on the main leaderboard page. But if you have the direct link to your video, it's going to be on the bottom right. But it's that Vote Now button that's going to tally the votes. It's very important to note. Actually, I'll talk about that in a second. So actually, let's just quickly jump to real time, if I can. So it might take a second to load, but you'll be able to see this is temporarily I've made the voting capabilities on for the voting page. I'll turn them off after this call, so they won't be able to vote before the time. But for right now, you can see this is how the voting page will look like. The AARP2 voting page will have a little bit of information on the top, then the leaderboard, which will show the number of votes here that are currently being tallied, and then below I will have the videos that will be, right now I have a placeholder in for the West Town video, but these two videos will, every time you reload the page, they randomly select which one's on top, so it'll go back and forth in terms of actually seeing the videos. But you can see here, and if you actually click on the name of each school, it'll just take you down to that video. So again, the way to vote would be to click this Vote Now button, and you'll see thank you for your vote, and it'll say +1. I can even do this here. Thank you for your vote, +1. And then if you refresh the page, you'd be able to see that my vote was tallied. So it's pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. One thing to note here, here's the direct link just to the Lindsay Wilson page. So if I was to, which if I refresh it, it should show that it was, yep, so it has the 1. So since and I'll talk about this in a second, but since I have already voted today, if I try to click, it's going to say, it's not going to tally that vote and say you can vote after 1 day. So I will talk about that in a second, but you will note that it won't let you vote more than once per day. So again, pretty simple in terms of how voting works, but let's go a little bit more into it into this. Present. All right, so how not to vote. This is also really good to know and to pass along to those that you are promoting this to. So obviously, what you just said, what we just talked about, voting is just clicking that little button that says Vote Now. If folks click the tweet button or click the like button or the share button for social media, for Twitter and Facebook, while that is great and we would highly encourage folks to do that so you can get more people to see your video, that will not count as a vote. If someone clicks the link on the actual YouTube video and goes to YouTube and likes the YouTube video, that is not going to be an official vote. So again, make it clear to your audiences that the only way to have an official vote is to click that little gray button that says Vote Now. Great. And yes, you can see that. Cool. All right, so talk a little bit about the voting rules. So the main thing you need to know as you promote your video is that our voting system limits 1 vote per person per IP address or device per day. So basically what that means is a person can vote from their same computer or device or phone only once per 24-hour period. So someone could vote from their home computer, their work computer, their cell phone, their iPad, assuming they're not on the same network. All those devices could tally 1 vote per 24 hours. The only issue that we've run into in the past and that you guys might run into is trying to vote from a group of computers that share 1 IP address, say maybe in a computer lab or a library on campus. And not everyone is set up exactly this way, but we have in the past run into some of these issues where if 1 computer voted in that set, then it acts like all the computers voted and wouldn't allow other computers to vote. So while we know that is a limitation and not super ideal, it is the same limitation for everyone participating. And note that the best way to kind of get around that is encourage folks to vote from their phone, encourage folks to vote from home. There's ways that they can still get their vote tallied for that day. So again, I want to reiterate that while this is a competition and we love the spirit of competition, we should all remember that we're all going to be part of CKP soon, so any form of cheating will be grounds for disqualification. So that means you're prohibited from obtaining votes by any fraudulent or inappropriate means, including anything like offering prizes or other incentives to monitor the votes received from an IP address in excess, that meaning more than 7 times, will be voided. And any use of any scripts or macros or any kind of robotic or automated systems to vote with the intent to impair the integrity of the voting process is prohibited as well. And all of those votes will also be voided. I don't foresee we'll have any of those issues, but have to say that just so we know that is what we expect from our competitors. So before I hand it over to Tyler to talk a little bit about some strategy, is there any questions about the logistics I talked about thus far?
Seems pretty straightforward. One of the questions I had at the beginning, Matt, was what you reviewed. So somebody wants to go home. I mean, our kids will be on spring break. For the seniors they're gone. Everybody else is gone on the 11th, so they can vote at home on their phones, on their computer once a day, or is it? Just to be clear, so I'm going to vote from my computer here at work. I'm going to go home on my iPad, and I can vote there too.
Yep.
Is that correct? That I can do a vote on any device just once a day.
Correct.
Okay.
Yep, that is it. Exactly. Cool. Well, again, there'll be more time for... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I'm sorry. Have you had any issues in the past with if students are on campus and they're using their phone or their laptop, but they're still technically on the college's internet network? Have there been any issues with voting in the past with that?
Yeah, sometimes. It depends on how the network's set up, but oftentimes if they aren't on... Sometimes that's more tied to if they're on a certain wireless network. So, but we found there hasn't been issues if they're just on using their phone own data just to go to the website on the mobile site and to vote. There hasn't been issues. So that's typically the best way. We've had folks, go into a classroom and say, everyone pull out their phone and vote, and they've been able to do that just fine. So typically it's been an issue mostly with computers that are directly connected to each other, like in a lab. But sometimes that even hasn't even been an issue either. So it really, I think, depends on how they're set up. But that's been the thing we most run into in the past.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to hand it over to my colleague Tyler to talk a little bit about social media outreach and other things like that.
Great, thanks, Matt. So hi, everyone. My name's Tyler, and I do communications for CKP nationally. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about social media and outreach and just some tips for you guys during the competition. So as you can see here on the slide, we have some sample tweets and Facebook posts, and I've created a document for each of you with specific tweets and Facebook posts for your school to share either from your own accounts or from the school's account, or to share to groups and organizations, basically anyone that can help promote the competition and encourage people to vote. So what you see on here are just some samples of that, and I'll send those to you guys today. And then you also see a couple images, which I've created for both of you. So the one in the bottom right corner is going to be a screenshot of your video, and it's just a shareable image that we encourage you to share on Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram. And obviously this is University of Kentucky, but it'll say Lindsey Wilson and Westtown for you guys, and then just another one, like a more generic shareable image. So again, I'll get this stuff to you guys hopefully today. And so for social media, it's really the best way to encourage people to vote and to encourage other people to share your competition. So Twitter and Facebook are really going to be your best outreach tool. You can tweet at people, you can tag people and pages on Facebook like school departments, clubs, local officials, organizations in the community, faculty members, sports teams, and peers, and ask them to vote. So it's like kind of a direct outreach tool. And it's really great if you can tag people in a tweet, but it's also really great if you can specifically reach out to them in a tweet. So you could say like, hey, at university alums, have you seen our video yet? Make sure to vote once a day and include the link. So that's definitely going to help promote your video and the competition. And if I see any of this stuff from the national office, I'll make sure to retweet it and like it from our accounts. And if you don't already, I would follow us on Twitter and Facebook, but I can send that to you in an email to make sure that you have it. And it's really important to tag your school, because that's also going to prompt your school to tweet about it as well. And you'll see in these tweets and Facebook posts, I have AARP tagged. So AARP Cares is on Twitter, and AARP Foundation is their Facebook page. So if you can, make sure to tag them as well, because they're going to help promote your content by retweeting it and liking it and sharing it. And then you can see the links that we have here. So I made custom bit.ly links, and bit.ly is just a link shortening website. It's really useful if you have like a really long link and you want to shorten it so it doesn't take up as much space, especially on Twitter. And I made custom ones for each of you guys that go right to your post, so which you can vote from. So people can vote from your post, which has your video, and the main page, which has both videos. And so you, on social media, you always want to include a link that takes the viewer directly to your video where they can vote. And so you can also use this language on Instagram, and you can definitely share the photo. Just something to note about posting on Instagram: in the caption, if you include a link, it's not going to hyperlink, so the viewer will have to copy the link and then put it in a browser. But if you put that link in your bio and then say in the caption, like, the link to vote is in my bio, then it's hyperlinked and the viewer can click on it. I know that's like a really minor detail, but sometimes it just makes it a little bit easier. And then you can keep that link in your bio the whole week. So also up here, you'll see that we use the hashtag #LaunchCKP. So you can use it on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and it's really great because you can see by clicking on LaunchCKP who's tweeting about it or posting about it on Facebook, and you can also follow the conversation, and I can follow the conversation, so I can make sure to retweet or like or share anything that I see with that hashtag. So just again about links, I want to stress to not post your YouTube URL online on social media, because then no one can vote. I know Matt just went over the voting, so no one can vote on YouTube, so the only way to vote is by taking people to your post or the page.
You want to show them that page? Is that a good time to do that? The automated tweet piece?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah. So here you go.
Okay, so this is what I mean by post. So this is Lindsey Wilson College's post, and you can vote here. So you can see in the bottom it says you can vote after 1 day. That's because Matt already voted. And this is so you can direct people here, and like what I said, this is where the bit.ly link and both your social media examples will take you here. And then we have custom Facebook and Twitter buttons below each video. So Matt, if you hit the tweet button, it's going to pop up, and this is just like custom Twitter language for anyone to share. And so for Westtown, it'll say vote for Westtown to start a campus kitchen. But here for Lindsey Wilson, so this is anyone who's voted can then share this. So that's another thing, is to also really encourage people to, after they vote, to share, because then, people in their networks can see more about the competition. And then for the Facebook, if you hit like, it's just going to pop up in your feed like, oh, Matt liked this. And then if you hit share, it's going to pop up with a link to the video, and then you have to write your own caption and you can share it with your friends. So that's just a helpful tool, and definitely encourage people to tweet and share about it as much as they can after voting. And just a reminder about language, I'm sure Matt has talked to you about this, but as you can see in the tweets and Facebook posts, we're encouraging you to say win a grant rather than the specific amount, just to kind of keep the competitive spirits high, and to just, give that sense of urgency that we can only win like a grant rather than being specific that you will both get grants. But I know Matt's going to talk about that in a little bit. So now we're going to talk about outreach and some things that you can be doing now. So both of you have put me in touch with your media relations departments, and thank you for that. And I'll be sending them a press release template, which they can fill out specifically for your school and hopefully send out. But it's also important for you guys to follow up and see if the media relations department can help reach out during the competition and before in any way. So if you haven't done this already, that's something I would try and do now. And some things that they can help is by sharing the voting page on the school's social media accounts. They could share it on the website or even the homepage of the school. That's happened before in the past. So like when someone clicks on lindsaywilson.edu, it would be right there on the homepage. It would be the first thing that they see. They could also write an article about it, different things like that. They're a really great tool and have a lot of connections. So if you can, definitely work with them and encourage them to help share the competition. You can, and I know I said this a little bit before, but it's really important to reach out to other networks that you're involved in to share the competition. So other departments, alumni network, maybe there's a newsletter or an email blast that goes out to the alums that you could have the competition featured in. You can also definitely encourage friends and family to share the competition and to vote. Maybe there's that goes out that students can then click on the link and vote, or like a faculty newsletter. Those are all different ways that you can just let people know about the competition and encourage them to vote. And you can also send people the sample social media posts that I'll be sending you, because that just makes it really easy for them. If you say, hey, would you mind sharing this? And look, I already have language for you. All you have to do is post it. It's super easy for them. And then during the competition, again, you want to just target your social media outreach to clubs, organizations, community members, basically anyone you think that can vote and would share it also. And you want to try and engage with as many people as you can and encourage people to share, because when people share, they can share it to their networks, which is a network you might have been to. And things you can do in person, you can go to classrooms or clubs and talk about the video and the competition and encourage people to vote, and maybe take out their phones right then and there and vote in the classroom. And you can also table on campus to promote voting in person. So those are just a few ideas to do during the competition. And then we're just going to look at the calendar now. So usually the first day, Monday, March 7th, I'll be promoting the competition on a national level. So I'll just be encouraging everyone to, and this is from CKP's social media account, to go to the competition page and to vote. And then on Tuesday, I'll be promoting Lindsay Wilson. So I'll just be tweeting about Lindsay Wilson and posting on Facebook. And then the following Wednesday will be Westtown. And then I'm just going to alternate throughout the week. So I'll be promoting your content on those days and encouraging people to vote. And then the last Monday of the competition, it'll be more from a national standpoint, so just encouraging people to vote on the last day to help start a campus kitchen. And on the days that you're featured on, make sure to check our social media accounts, because then you can retweet and like whatever we're posting. So just a couple reminders to not forget to shout out AARP and your school in social media posts, because hopefully then they'll share everything that you post. And I'm going to be sending the graphics and sample social media posts today. And don't forget to take your audience directly to your post or the page with your video so people can vote. So do you guys have any questions about any of that?
No, I just want to say thanks. This is awesome.
Yeah,
what you guys help us do, and my brain is already thinking about all my contacts and who's going to get the information from me.
Good, great. And if you have any questions about this kind of stuff, like social media and outreach, you can email me anytime during the week, and hopefully I can help you out.
And Tyler, you said that you're going to get those to us by this afternoon?
Yeah, so I'm going to send the graphics and the sample media posts this afternoon. And then Mitch, I know just whenever the your video is up, I'll do the exact same thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
And Tyler, will you be sending?
Hi, I'm sorry. This is Amy from Lindsay Wilson. And Natalie has been working very hard on this initiative. However, she's going to be out of pocket for a little bit. So she'll be out of the country. Is there any way that I can be included in that email? I don't know what email you have on file, but for Lindsay Wilson, but if we could add an additional email, that would be great.
Yeah, definitely. I'll double check with Matt to make sure I have the right emails, and I'll send all the information out you guys including like the press release template in case anyone like needs that. And then if I miss anyone, well, hopefully Matt can just make sure that I have the right emails before.
Yeah, well, actually, Natalie, if you just want to send me all the emails that you want us to include, and then we'll just have them, and that might be the best way to do that.
Yeah, I can do that.
So, yeah, I think we probably don't have Amy's, but yeah, if you just send us whoever you want to get all the info, just let me know, and then we'll make that happen.
Perfect. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Mitch, did you have something else?
No, I was just gonna say you'll be sending all this obviously to Anne at our place, and she'll get it
right
too. So yeah,
cool.
Yeah. Communications folks. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Tyler. Yeah, and just to reiterate, really thinking about this competition not only as a way to receive funds, but also using this strategically as a promotional tool to really get the word out about your future campus kitchen. So, we've done many of these competitions, and we've seen in the past, this is just such a great tool to engage not only your own campus and your own school, obviously your future leaders in the program, your future volunteers for the program, your future supporters and allies among staff and faculty, and also in the community, or potential future other donors or other partners. So this is a really great way to come out of the gate really strong, and I think we've seen these type of competitions really set up our newer campus kitchens to be sometimes even stronger than some that have been around for a really long time, because they are able to use this as such a great platform. So while obviously the money is a wonderful incentive to keep people excited, but know kind of internally thinking as you think about your strategy, who do we want to engage, who do we want to hear program long term. So yeah, it's super exciting, and it's a really fun way to promote this as well. So thanks, Tyler. Let's go on to the fun part. So the money. So obviously we had some unfortunate things happen last week with a couple schools having to drop out, which not unfortunate for you guys, obviously very fortunate for you guys, but fortunate maybe for us, but we're going to get them hopefully in our next competition, which will be great. But because of that, we obviously wanted to keep the competition piece part of the equation, because we see again the value of it so much. So because of that, like I said, we're going to have the top prize be worth $6,000 and the second prize be worth $5,000. So in terms of messaging, from a national standpoint, we are going to message it more on the more vague side of help these schools win a grant, just to kind of keep folks that maybe don't know the specifics understanding that they should, or kind of keep incentivizing them to want to vote for schools to get them into that top spot. For you guys internally, it's totally up to you how you want to message. If you want to keep it that vague, help us win a grant, that's great. Or if you think it'd be more beneficial to say, that we help us get the top prize and be specific with amounts. In terms of how you promote that internally, it really is up to you. We were gonna keep it the same messaging of help us win a $5,000 grant. Or help these schools win a $5,000 grant. But if you think that it's really going to help to push your audience to know that there's a chance to take that top spot and win another $1,000 and use that as messaging, by all means do that. But just kind of know that's how we will message it from our end. Will be that way, but we're totally open for whatever you guys think is going to be effective on your campuses and in your community. So to talk a little bit about the breakdown of the grant prizes. So we've broken them down into four installments. And I'll go through each of these really quickly, and this will be something we'll talk about obviously in the future more as well, once we're actually in the process of getting these grants to you guys, but just to get a good overview. So right upon ending of the competition, the next step there is to get your administration basically to sign the official contract, which has already been pre-vetted, obviously, when they sign the letter of intent. So it's exactly the same document, but we're just going to have them sign the actual signatory page and then countersign that. So that typically is a pretty easy process, since we make schools go through that process in the beginning with the letter of intent. But we'll get that signed, and as soon as we get that signed, we'll be able to issue the first installment at $1,500. And so originally this installment was designed to be used for what we call a planning fellow, and I'll talk a little bit about the reasoning behind that, and then also some other options if that doesn't make sense. But initially, obviously, these grants are to be used for the continued planning of your campus kitchen and then eventually implementation of it. And we've seen that it's great to have a point student or students that are able to finish out the kind of more logistical planning pieces of the program and having some incentive tied to that. So if you want to, and it's helpful to have this installment be used as kind of a planning fellow stipend for that student to finish out the planning process and get it to a point of implementation, that is what this could be used for. Though we have seen in the past that some schools, for various reasons, whether they already have a dedicated group of students or they already have students that are being paid from something else, or they already have some dedicated staff that are also taking a piece of this planning process, that maybe that funding could be used, be more beneficial used in other ways. So just basically know that if that doesn't make sense for your particular scenario, I'm more than happy to work with you guys to figure out what that first installment, what could be used best for. So just know that there is some flexibility with that, and we can talk through that after the grant competition is over, as we start to kind of plan out the next steps for that. But so that's the first installment that will be sent out right away. The second installment of $800 is earmarked specifically for supplies and equipment that your campus kitchen might need, and we have some great resources on the planner to kind of a checklist of typical things that every campus kitchen either will need to acquire through their dining service provider in kind or purchase on their own. So that installment can basically be either lumped with the first one if you feel like you're ready at that point to purchase some supplies, or can be sent out when you hit that point in the planning process when you're ready to start talking about purchasing supplies. That is just when you will just reach out to me and say, hey, I think we're ready, and I'll be obviously in contact throughout this entire time of the rest of the planning process. But when you guys have come to the point of kind of getting to those last bit of pieces of getting equipment and supplies purchased, I'll issue that $800. The third installment takes a little bit of explanation. So it's a $1,200 installment, but some of that is in the form of an in-kind, in-person training from someone in our staff. So when you've reached the point where you're ready to actually start your campus kitchen and launch your operations, we send one of our staff members for a 2 to 3 day visit, which is there for obviously training, which is there to help host a launch event or celebration, and we're able to assist in making sure that everything is ready to go and polished and everything is set for the start of your campus kitchen. So some of that $1,200 will be to cover the cost of our staff training, but then whatever is not used, which typically runs about half of that, will then be lumped into the final sum and will be given to you guys in cash. So let's just note that part of that will be in the informed kind of our in-person training. And then once that launch is officially complete, we will then send out the remaining balance, which is either going to be $1,500 for the second place school or $2,500 for the first place school, and then plus the additional of that $1,200 that wasn't used for the launch. And that will all be then sent at the end in one lump sum. And that really can be used is meant to be used kind of for the general sustainability of the program. We realize that $5,000 is maybe more than a school would need necessarily to, quote unquote, start a campus kitchen, but it's great to have some of those funds to kind of think more long term and bigger picture for how and you plan to kind of grow your campus kitchen throughout the years. Questions about the funds or the installments?
Not at this point for me, Matt. I'm good.
Great. No worries. And yes, and we'll obviously be talking about all this as we continue to plan. So just wanted to make sure we're on the same page from the get-go. All right, so just a couple last thoughts. Obviously, throughout this competition, you're going to gain a lot of great momentum in terms of getting the word out about your program, and we obviously want you to keep that momentum up all the way through until you actually launch your campus kitchen. And something we'll do after the competition is over, is I'll have individualized check-in calls with each of you to kind of set out a timeline and set a rough launch date. Even if you're not exactly sure, it's really important, and we've seen the value of being able to set a date, even if it does end up changing, to kind of work towards. So, that date can obviously be as soon as you want. Many of you might already know generally when you want to launch or start your program. And again, it can be any time, but also remember that through this grant, you must launch your Campus Kitchen by no later than September 30th, 2016. So you have that entire time to complete the rest of the planning process, and you obviously can launch at any time before then, but note that that last date is September 30th. If you do not launch by then, you will not receive the remainder of your funds, and also may be forced to return any of the amount of the grant that was already paid. So if you never had that problem, and I'm not worried about that, I'm sure you'll all be able to easily launch before then as we continue to work with you guys. Yeah, and even though we already know you're both going to receive grants, which is wonderful, I hope obviously you will still use this competition, like I said, as a platform to really get the word out and to get people excited about this. I think something that's really cool about these competitions is that now we've done, a good handful, and every school that's ever competed in a competition like this, whether they've won or lost, have ended up launching their Campus Kitchen, which again I think is a testament to the ability for these type of competitions to really promote the program to folks that oftentimes because of this competition, some of the schools that weren't able to get grants were able to engage other funders that were either on campus or in the community that were able to help them with funding to get their program started. So yeah, so I just think it's a really fun and cool way to engage all types of folks that are going to be part of your future Campus Kitchen. So yeah, so again, remember that you have already done a lot of the hard parts of setting up a Campus Kitchen, which is really forming that foundational support on campus and in the community. So we really can't wait to work with you all more throughout the rest of the semester and over the summer to get these programs actually started. But first, obviously, let's have a really great competition week next week. As Tyler said, if there's any questions that come up this week or especially during the competition, if you're noticing any problems or issues, please reach out to us immediately, and we will help troubleshoot that as best we can. If there's any other types of resources or things that you might need that you think would be helpful, let us know. We're here to help. And beyond that, I think that's pretty much all we wanted to share today. I wanted to keep this as short as sweet as possible. So any other questions over anything that we discussed during this webinar?
No, I think it went over a lot of good stuff.
Cool.
I'm pretty clear, which is great. So I appreciate your time. We'll get that thing hopefully done tonight.
Great.
That's my goal.
Wonderful. That would be great for us too.
Yeah, we want to get this thing finished. So, yes, I appreciate your help with that. Just look forward to doing this. I know that our partners are real excited about it. So that's for us. That's a big plus. They're excited about it too. So
wonderful to hear. Great. Natalie, Amy, anything from you guys at this point?
Yeah, I just had a question. We're pretty clear on all of this information. Is there any way that you could provide us a link to this Prezi so that we could use that just to make sure we have all of our details lined up correctly?
Absolutely. So I could send you over the Prezi, and also I'm recording this webinar, so I'll send over the recording YouTube video if you want to pass this along to other folks just to listen to it if they want to do so. So I'll send that over later this afternoon, probably along with all of Tyler's stuff as well. So.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Good suggestion, Natalie. Good suggestion. That'll be helpful.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, if nothing else, I will let you guys get going with the rest of your day. But again, if anything comes up, please let us know, and we will be in touch soon.
All right.
Thank you.
Sounds
right,
good.
bye-bye.
Good luck, everybody.
Bye.
All right. Have a good day.